Welcome back. So today's video is entitled The Corporate Cult. So everybody at their job, if they don't own their own business, they're working, they got a job. And sometimes a job says, "Oh well, we got our own culture here. We got our own culture here." Da, 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 da. And every place runs a certain way and does things a certain way, and that's fine. And then some places, the whole, we're just gonna call it brainwashing of the underlings goes too far. Now, I'm not gonna harp on anyone who has set policies, who has wants to keep their image good, and uh, has a way of doing things, interacting with customers or whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about those that instill the idea that they just have to have a, a certain amount of control over one's free will, even off the clock and even outside of work. And they make people feel guilty guilty when they can't come to work. Now, I'm not talking about those who habitually call out. I'm not talking about those that, um, you know, have reason to say, "Oh man, that person's a slob," whatever. They're not a good worker or whatever. I'm not talking about those types of people. I'm talking about people that do their job so well that the second they call out because they're sick, they can't get their car started, there's been a death in the family, the supervisors make them feel so guilty or attempt to make them feel so guilty for not coming into work. Meanwhile, coworker plain Jane Joe Blow misses X amount of days and no one bats an eye because that's expected. Oh, but not you. You're the prime machine. You're the go-getter. You're the superstar. So you have to be here no matter what. Okay. And then there are those, I mean, that happens a lot even outside of a that's more of a fault of managers and supervisors. That's like, oh crap, they're not here. What am I going to do? I can't meet my production needs. I can't meet my quota because I don't have my best people here. I got to deal with the B team. Um, we're not talking about that either, but that right there is a example. There's actually a difference between that, and I'll give you an example. I used to work for one of the, I'm not even going to say what industry it is, one of the biggest companies of the Southeast. Okay. If I were to say it, you'd know it. It's a household name by this point. And it's privately owned, it's employee owned. And the way they make people feel, it's like, well, and at the time, it's like I called. It's like couldn't get my car started one morning. And my manager of my department wasn't there. And I mean, someone answered the phone in my department, so they had to put it the next in line, someone that's in charge of a different department, whatever. And he said, "Well, you live out there near the airport, right?" I was like, "Yeah." "Get a cab." I said, "I'm not going to do that." So what? Don't you care about your stock? Blah 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 blah. I said, "My car needs a new battery. If I were to get it, I don't have anyone around. It's still early. No one's up to give me a jump." And so at a certain time, I got someone to come over, uh, take me to the auto parts store, get the battery, come home, replace the battery, and I call my department manager, who was very sympathetic, said, "Oh yeah, he would have washed. It would have washed. I would not have made any money that day. But maybe my stock went up." See, there are those people that believe that because someone doesn't show up, that the stock's going to tank. And things happen, life happens. And this is the same thing, same thing. Well, they don't like you have to be throwing up for them to be considered that you're sick. It's that kind of environment. Respiratory diseases be damned. That's not sick. What's sick is if you're throwing up everywhere, you know? And then I've heard it not just with a manager in my department, but I overheard one in another department chewing out another employee who was late because of what it's like, oh, get a cab. It's like, if you get a cab to and from work, um, at the rate they were paying, that's a wash. That's no income gained. I mean, because let's say I would not miss a day of work, but I still would have had to gotten a battery anyway. And I mean, I did make up a little bit of time, but that's taking it too far. The cult of the company, taking it too far, a cult, if you will, not just on the stock end, but think about the word culture. You see how it kind of relates there. We could take the whole Twitter buyout, right, from Elon Musk. He came in, he got rid of top level management, save money. They were making millions hand over fist every year for doing diddly squat. Fires them. Okay, then then just the other day he sends out a mass email, fires a lot of people and a lot of other countries, even complies with California state law. And this whole ordeal, if you've been paying attention to it, like, oh, he's going to come in, he's going to change everything, he's going to change it all. And yeah, I mean, that's what someone does when they buy a company, things get changed. And the whole culture of the company is changing, and they're used to being ran a certain way. And that happens a lot, not just with, say, these because I mean, it's fresh on everybody's mind because it's on the national and international spotlight. But we can take things that are regional. Um, a company comes in, a company that's known for doing stuff, has a decent reputation. Um, and then another company comes in who just we'll just say is bigger or has got bigger, maybe because they undercut cost of resources and whatever, able to get the contracts at a lot cheaper rate. And then at some point, the company that is awesome, according to their employees, is not doing so hot because they can't compete with that low ball rate. And then they wind up selling that company to one of these other competitors that really can lowball because they're so big, and because they underpay their employees, and they do all this other stuff, and then they get absorbed by that, and then like nothing, that whole client list goes to them, and then clients wind up dropping. It's like, because there's some that just like, well, you get what you pay for, and that's true. So quality control goes down and everything. And so, and I guess this is more of a video on just customer service in general, and employee happiness. But we have those like here's the other thing about the company. And if you were to, say, shop at a competitor, they would ream you out. Even if it's for a very lower price, you got to do what you got to do, you know? And so you have managers and department managers who are trying to get to management who's trying to get to district, will step on everybody, will ream out everybody, and creates a culture of that. And yeah, there's quite a few that get promoted through their merits, but there's also quite a few that get promoted because someone made the coworkers look bad. And it's like, well, aren't you there? I mean, and then here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. I love this one. Okay. Charity days, right? Maybe the company's given to a charity that you maybe if you've done your research on and you're like, I don't know, that's the I've looked at this charity and only people at the top get their share and barely anything gets to the cause, which is true with a lot of well-known charities today. And then they're like, well, don't you want to participate? No, I don't. Well, it's for a good cause. I'm sorry, I'm not going to. Well, blah blah blah. It's like, are we getting paid? No, but it's for a good cause. It's like, okay, but um, I've been working my butt off. I would like to have some time for myself or time for my family. And then they kind of make you feel guilty for not participating in those. And most of those that don't participate in those don't get promoted past a certain point. And then they bring in every year, and this is true with quite a few places I've worked at. The United Way. The United Way, huh? Okay. The United Way. I can go on and on about the United Way, which I might do in a separate video. But they're like, well, we need full participation this year. That doesn't mean that you donate. It just means that you check the box whether you choose to donate a certain amount of your check every week or whatever, or one-time payment or whatever, or check no. But everybody has to check the box. Everybody. And I'm sitting there thinking, why? Why? If I don't participate, if I'm not going to give anyway, why do I have to check it at all? So you can keep track of me, of whether or not I'm part of the team, part of the club, about that, whatever, get promoted, that degree of whatever, and there's a lot of good things about the company, but there's a lot of bad, and it's mostly the people that will just say abuse the system, believing that it works a certain way that it isn't. There's a difference between being a company man and liking the job and liking the company you work for versus being that company is your identity. When that company becomes your identity, that's when it becomes a cult. That's when it becomes an idol. That's when it becomes when you put it above your family. That's what happens when you put it above your family. So that's what we're talking about when it comes to the cult of the company. Are you participating in extra work activities? And if you're not, are you getting ostracized? Are you doing everything you can to make it to work, even if it means it's your own body's detriment? If not, are you being ostracized for not coming to work when you're clearly sick, when you clearly have car troubles? And again, is are you the only one there that's reliable? And that's a failure on management. And that's more so on management than it becomes cult-like behavior. It's like you gotta train other people. You gotta get people to like it. You gotta get people to say, I'm efficient at it. And if they don't care, ship them to another department or get rid of them. You know, it's that simple. There's always something that they can do, but if their attitude is horrible, then then that hurts everybody, not just you, and they know it does, and they take it out on you when you want a day off, when you need a day off, when you need a break, because if you don't have a day off, you're going to get sick, and that's another thing. Oh, here's the other thing. So many people call out. It is your day off. They call you. to come in and you say, I can't make it. And they guilt you and make you feel as if your job depends on you coming in. And I've seen that happen. I've seen, not just the whole cult thing, but the people that just kind of go along with it. I was like, it was your day off. You had plans today. You were going to do this. You were going to propose to your girlfriend. You were going to a theme park with your family. You were going to leave today on a vacation. You were going to close on a house today. And then a psychological thing, it just breaks down saying, I have to do this. I have to do this. I got to do this. It's like, no, stop being controlled. Cults and mind control are come from the same are from the same cloth. So that's really what we're talking about today is are you being controlled? Are you being guilted into coming in and doing something because you're reliable and no one else is, and it was your planned day off? Are you guilted because you are sick? Are you guilted because your car won't start? Or my favorite thing, are you guilted because you have there's a position within the same company that pays more, but your supervisor of your department will sabotage you because they don't want to lose you, yet it makes you more money and you want to progress? Or how about this? Within your department, does your supervisor discourage you from taking a higher position? Or do they say you'll never do it and whatever? That's another thing. Or here's another thing. If you get a job offer from a competitor that pays more, has better benefits and everything else, and so everybody that you worked with, that you relied on, that you thought you got along great with and everything, will they give you a good reference or talk crap? And it's up to you to just kind of just see from the outside things that are similar. How did this work out when so and so was going to get a job over there? And then he said that boss man gave me bad reference. And and you wouldn't have thought that when boss man and so and so were working together. You thought they were best of buds. So again, I mean, people are corrupt. People are 100% corrupt. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And that's that. And the love of money is the root of all evil. And sometimes when they feel like they can make themselves look good, I know of someone who, the company itself wasn't cult like, but the one in charge of something was was a very manipulative narcissist. And this person controlled another person, that I know and we knew, and to the point where the company, like the credit card was used, personal credit card was used, and it wasn't reimbursed for quite some time. And then when they realized that the company should have reimbursed it, and they say, well, the company would blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, you're not the company, but you still got to do it. Otherwise, and it's like, well, what do you do if I don't pay it back? So I take you to small claims court. And it was paid back within 2 weeks. It was paid back within 2 weeks. So that's another thing that happens, with and you got to keep your head on a swivel. It's like when you're doing something, it's like, is this ethical behavior? Is what the company doing or what my supervisor is doing, is it ethical? And if it's any money outside of the company for company means, you have to bring it beforehand and show them the receipt saying, hey, we paid this, 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 this. Now, the reason it was done like that is the company even said, show us the receipts and we'll reimburse you. And the person, they wanted the money for themselves. They thought they could pocket it by doing this, that, the other thing, and then using someone else's money. And it's like, no, money just doesn't come about. Credit cards are not free money. And they had to learn that. And both of them learned a valuable lesson, saying one of them is you can't trick someone into buying something that's for company means without paying it back, either yourself or the company. The other person learned that, you know what? I gotta show the receipts. If it's for this, for my travel, for my per diem, I need to get reimbursed for that. And it was even in the contract. So and the supervisor almost got fired for it. Almost. Had it was not been dealt with privately, and it would have been dealt with corporately. It's again, it's the narcissism is also a side of like being somewhat of a cult leader. That happens too. So, with that being said, let's go through them again. Does the company guilt you for just an absentee or tardy that really is unforeseen? Do they make a big deal about your personal time, especially time off requests put in? If they don't make it clear that there are blackout dates, then they really ought not get mad about those time off requests. Are they upset that you decided to not show up? This goes hand in hand with the other, but further, if your transportation's down, do they get upset that you didn't take a cab or bus or whatever to get there? Just because of their stock? Are they angry that you decided not to participate in a charitable event or charitable thing that they host or they're part of because either you don't believe in it or you don't see the virtue in it? So those are the things you got to look out for. And are they coercing you to come in on your day off when other people can't? And are they coercing you to fork over a few bucks just to help the bottom line? If any of those are the truth of the matter, you need to get on Indeed or Monster or whatever, or start your own business. You need to walk away. You need to find another source of income, because this is the truth. So the cult of the company cult, the corporate cult, corporate culture. That's what we talked about. So continue to pray for anybody that has to deal with that or has dealt with that or knows someone that is running through it. So just let me know in the comments if you had an issue with this in the past. So God bless you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. May Christ keep you. All right. Have a good one.